criteria of what I'm looking for, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you know that that particular individual is your wife or husband from the beginning. You kind of understand what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. And then that goes back to what you said to some criteria. So I think that that's where things get kind of, I think that our vision gets blurry when it comes to a criteria, because what is the criteria? I know we all have had our list in the past when we were looking for that perfect person. Even when it came down to, I know back in the days when we used to be like, "Ooh, my baby father gonna be Puerto Rican, so my baby could have good hair," and you just had those things. He had to be tall. You try to make this image of what you feel that your perfect mate is gonna be, and then at this stage in my life, when I met my husband, we've only been married for 3 years. He ended up being something totally opposite from anybody who I had ever dated before. Like, if you didn't have your hat to the back, your Timberlands, and just thugged out, then I wasn't even checking for you. But my husband is a gentleman. He has, more than one pair of shoes, hard bottom shoes and slacks and all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know about that, because to me, when we met, he seemed corny. But I always say that sometimes I think that we don't even know what's good for us. So that brings me to my next point with Ira. Ira, I want to know, what was it that made you feel... Well, first of all, tell me how you guys met.
Okay, we met, Divine and I, we met on Facebook. I was going through a divorce, and I met him after the divorce. I was wanting to do music again, and a friend of mine said, "Well, have you heard of Divine Is Nice Productions?" And I said, "No." I said, "Is he on Facebook?" And he said, "Yeah." He said he has some really, really good beats. He said, "Why don't you go and listen to his beats, and if you have any questions, you can shoot him a message inbox." I said, "I'm okay." So I never did. I did listen to the beats, but I never did reach out to him until maybe like almost a month later. And I was just, asking him about, his music and stuff like that. He said, "So what do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm a Christian rap artist." So he kind of chuckled a little bit, like, he was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've opened up for Kanye West, and, I did some stuff with Floyd Tree and Destiny Child, And he was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. That's what's up." And he was like, "So what are you looking to do?" I said, "Well, I want to do a solo album because the lady, the girl that I was in a group with, she wanted to do something else. So our group name was Spirit and Truth. I was Spirit, and the other girl was Truth. So we wanted to do our own thing. So she went her way, and I went my way. And I wanted to do this solo album. Long story short, I never did, get into the album. We never talked about the album anymore because we were so. It was just a divine connection over the phone, even though I was the one pushing away. Because to be honest, I wasn't looking to be in another relationship, even though I was in a situationship. Before we even got close, I was with this guy, and God had already said, "Look, I never told you to even be with this man, but that's something you wanted to do." And then, God just kind of severed that thing, and then, I don't know, Divine and I, we just got really, really close, and, he listened to my story, and he told me some things about him, and he was just a very, very good listener, so, and I was just like, wow, I said, he's different from any other guy. But to be honest with you, I wasn't looking for anyone. I remember writing in my journal, after I got out of my marriage was, dissolved, and then I was in this situationship with this guy. That was over with. I just remember saying, "God, let your will be done," and that was it. I didn't say I want this dude. He had to be this. He had to be that. I just wanted whatever God had for me in my life. What if it was a relationship or me just having that time for him or whatever the case may be. But it was just like God just like I didn't even see it coming. I had no idea I would be moving to the East Coast. Had no idea. Living in Texas for 33 years, I was comfortable. I knew everybody. I knew, what I wanted to do. I was opening up businesses. I was okay. But then God just turned things around, and here I am in Philadelphia with him.
And so you left Texas, you came to Philadelphia, you you with the love of your life at this point. Now, Divine, she said you're a good listener. I know Divine from junior high school, where he was not a good listener. He did not listen to the teachers. He just was not a good listener. So, do you feel that at this point in your life, what makes it different with Ira than when you were with your children's mother? What makes you feel that, like, when you guys got together, that you wanted to marry her and you wanted to make her life better? What was it that drew you to her?
Oh, well, let me go back a little bit and talk about the criteria, because I'm just going to tie into the question that you just asked.
Okay.
But thanks for putting me out there about me not listening. But anyway, no, the criteria, when you're younger, males, I'm going to say for men, black men especially, no, let me not speak for black men, let me back up. But let me just say it from a male's perspective. When you're young, the criteria is usually a big butt, a big chest, and somebody you think you could get with. That basically is the criteria when you're younger, when you're a younger male. And the reason being is that that's kind of taught to us growing up, by older men. They tell you all kinds of misinformation. So that's basically the criteria as a younger man or a teenager. Well, that was mine. Let me speak for myself. It wasn't too much, about did they have any education. It was basically, okay, they look good, they talking, all right, it is what it is. But as I started to get older, and as time developed, and I started going, into relationships, talking to this woman, that woman, I used to talk to a lot of women back in the day. It started to become like, what am I doing all this for? And it was at a young age that I started feeling that way, but I continued to go through that process, because like everything in life is a process. So going through that particular process, I started feeling like I was playing myself at some point. It was like I was just getting with a particular woman to put another notch on my belt, but after a while, it didn't even really feel good anymore. It was like the thrill was gone. So I started to look more and more. I would say, like in my 20s, I started to look, even though I was still acting out a little, messing with this one, that one. I was still a hoe that someone used to call me that. I still used to, go that route, but even going that route, certain things started to change in my mind. Now I wanted to know more of their background. Now I wanted to know, was this the type of individual, even if we weren't going to last in a relationship or even be in a relationship, would this be the kind of person that I would want to be with or have a chance with? So I started looking at the qualities, not just ass and, titties, nothing of that nature. I was just looking at, okay, is this a loving individual? Are they a caring individual? Things of that nature. And then what happened, like, kind of when I met my baby moms, I had met my baby moms at, like, a period of my life when I was kind of depressed because I had got shot up. When they were saying I wouldn't be able to walk again, they was about to cut my leg, all this stuff. This was years ago. I had got shot up, and then, I met her, so it was kind of me going through what I was going through, and she was going through whatever she was going through with her grandmother, because her grandmother had her leg cut off and was in a wheelchair and all that. So that's kind of how we met. It wasn't even on the aspect of, we was going to get together, we was going to have a relationship. But it wasn't nothing like that. It was just that, my homie introduced me to her. I was like, you remember her? I was like, nope. I didn't even remember the chick. We got together. Years went by. We had, 3 kids, and it was never, I was there, but I wasn't really there. Because like I said, it's like when you start something off for the wrong reason, it usually ends for that particular reason. And I got into something basically for the wrong reason, and it kind of just ended it ended a bad way. I'm just going to leave it like that. It just was stupid the way things went at the end. The only time I really just on Facebook. She reaches out to me, asks me a question about that. I made a little joke. But from very early on, I started to notice that this was a woman. I could just feel something through the phone when we started talking on the phone, because at first we were just texting. And I had asked her one day, why don't you just call me? And she called me. And then from the very first convo, I told her that, it felt like we were friends and we were just catching up. We were just letting each other know where we had been in the years we weren't around each other. Even though we didn't know each other, that's how it felt. And then she started sharing intimate details with me about things that had gone on with her life, how she got through it, a whole bunch of stuff she just started sharing with me. And that was early on when we first met. So, as I continue to talk to a person, I could start picking up little details about them. A lot of people say that I'm a good judge of character, and I started picking up things about her character. I started to see persistence. I started to see someone that was willing to go the extra mile to do better, to get better, not let them, her past, overwhelm her so much that she stays stuck. I started to see that, she was a good overall person,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of that had happened to her. And, I don't know, she just had all of the qualities that before I used to overlook. And when I first started talking to her, I didn't even go to her page to even see what she looked like for the first 3 or 4 meetings. I didn't know what she looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Because that wasn't what was really important. It was her, the individual, the loving, caring spirit that I felt over the phone. The person that could break down, and she would be all emotional with me and didn't even know me. The person that gave me enough trust to feel as though she could tell me all these intimate details without knowing what I was going to do with this info. It was the quality, and not physical, not just physical attributes. It was actually her equality, her overall quality. And another thing I just want to say real quick about when you say the criteria,
Mm-hmm.
I think for all individuals, criteria change. I'm not going to drag it out, but I think for all individuals, criteria change. What you may be looking for when you're younger, a teenager, early 20s, etc., may not be the same thing that you'll be looking for when you're in your 30s or 40s. It's not going to just always be about the look. I heard you say that, you thought your husband was corny, the way he was, but in that corniness, you found love.
Yeah, and when I say that
corniness aside, and you accepted him for who he was.
yeah, I did. Because he was corny, in a sexy kind of way, because it's just that it was different. My husband, he is so, he's I always tell him, I'm you just a black man trapped in, you're a white man trapped in a black body, because he's so nerdy. And if anybody who knows me and my past and that my kids' fathers, you whoa. But he is the one that God sent for me. He's one that I don't mind being submissive to, because he's a man who is, I don't know, I can say that I've dated many men, but I'm such a strong personality that you just can't come for me any kind of way, because I'm going to walk all over you. So you got to have some kind of backbone to you to handle Tanya from Brownsville. I try to leave her there, and it takes a different kind of man to handle a broken woman, because a broken woman really, really does not know her place. And before my husband and I got married, he said, I can't marry no broken pieces. And going into the relationship, I can't say that I was healed 100%, because I still had my guard up, and he wanted to love me, and he had to actually tell me, you got to allow love to love you, but he still kind of scared, because you I don't know where this can end up, and I don't need another heartbreak, one more heartbreak going to send me over the bridge, because I was at that period where I don't need no man for nothing type thing that I think that we all go through, or really, like Iris said, that we're not looking for love. So